Welcome to Soul Soldier Speaks, where we honor the warrior within each of us on life's battlefield. I'm your host, Lindsay Taylor. Here we stand with those on the front lines of their own lives, those battling suicidal thoughts, addiction, grief, and life's hardest challenges. We honor the loved ones standing beside those struggling and remember those we've lost. Each episode, we delve into raw, unfiltered conversations and stories of people who faced the darkest of nights and emerged with healing, transformation, and hope. Together, we will navigate the battlefield, focusing on the battles that save and restore. This podcast is more than stories. It's a rallying cry, an army of soul soldiers reclaiming the light one story at a time. Together, we rise. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Soul Soldier Speaks podcast. Today I have, oh my goodness. You know what? So for this podcast, usually I prepare some questions, but for this one, I wanted it off the cuff because my guest is absolutely my favorite person ever. And this is a man who started out as a pain in my butt. We'll get the context around that story. We'll give context to that in a minute, but no, I say that actually out of the deepest love. He's somebody that I always saw so much good in from the time I met you, Randy. I just saw so much good in your heart. And he became a friend and now family. And so I'm truly, truly honored to have Randy on the podcast today. So thanks for hopping on.
I'm honored to be here.
Yeah. So little backstory. So Randy and I met through my job that I had at the adoption agency years and years ago. So I case managed birth moms and dads that were placing their child for adoption. Many of the clients I worked with were doing an adoption because they were struggling with addiction. And so I always say that job, I saw somebody on one hand having like the hardest day of their life, having to hand their baby over to another family. And then on the other hand, an adoptive family who maybe couldn't have kids, having the best day of their life because now they are able to have a child. And this polarizing, emotions of like somebody having the best day of their life. And then I was on the birth mom side, case managing the birth mom. So I was really living in the hard emotions that the birth mom was facing. And there's so many things I learned through that job. So many things. I mean, it truly, I feel like was really the starting point of me tapping into like my true purpose and calling and what God has me here to do. But I learned so much from those moms. And first and foremost, I always say, and dads too, it is the most brave and courageous decision a person can make. And I'll eventually have Mandy on because she did an adoption. And I want to share that story and I want to honor birth moms because I don't care what your circumstances, whether you're on drugs or not, or you're young or whatever the reason is that you're doing an adoption. I don't care what the circumstances around it. It is absolutely, I can't imagine as a mother and for those out there listening who are parents, having to place your baby in somebody else's arms. And so it is the most brave and courageous thing a person can do, truly. And I know you weren't the birth father, but still you walked that journey with.
Still, I went through the entire process. Yeah. It was difficult. I can only imagine.
Yeah. And you felt it having to hand the baby to the adoptive
Absolutely.
family. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, there was that. I want to acknowledge that. And then I really saw through that job, that was like the first time that I had really worked with individuals struggling with addiction. And like not just worked with, but like I lived it with them. I felt like I was with them day in and day out, like a lot, really was their support person through the process. And so I spent a lot of time with you guys and my clients, a ton of time. Yeah. And so first time really getting experience with that. And then working with people who are homeless, incarcerated, just really working with that population. And I will say, and I don't know if I've said this on here before, but I say it often in life that when I sit with people who are on the streets, incarcerated, struggling with addiction, my soul feels at home. And I don't know why or how else to say it, because I also always say I'm like the most sober person I know in this life. So I always say if there's such things as past lives, I must have been an addict because I just do. I really, really relate to that population. And I think what it is I
I've sat in like NA meetings and AA meetings with clients, supporting them. And I think what it is I'm no different. Like what I've realized is that we are no different. We are all human. We all face struggles. So our struggles might look different. They might have a different name, but ultimately we are all broken in one way or another. We're living in this fallen world together and we all face struggles. And so when I sit with those people and see their vulnerability and their rawness and their realness and their hearts and just the struggle, I'm like, I see my heart and my struggle and all of my things. And so I just really gained a profound respect for birth moms, birth fathers, and just those that struggle with addiction, because I saw the insurmountable stronghold. Like I saw how much these parents loved their child and how much it ripped them apart to have to place their child in somebody else's hands. I shouldn't say to make the brave decision to place their child in somebody else's hands. And I saw how hard that was and how much the love that they had. And then I also saw how strong the addiction was and how much it had a grip on people. And so with that lengthy introduction, that is ultimately how I met Mandy and Randy. And so Randy, we'll get back to that part, but let's just start with, I always like to start with who my guest is as a person. So like, who's Randy beneath the struggle, like not your struggles. We're not going to go there first. Just like, who is Randy as a young boy growing up? Like the traits that you have, who are you?
Wow. That's pretty deep. You throw that at me right away.
We're going deep right away.
I think I'm a good person. I think I always have been. I was raised, none of the problems I've ever had or none of the things I've ever done wrong could I blame on my parents or my upbringing. I was raised very well. One of 6 children and with amazing parents. And I think that stuck with me through everything. All my values have still been there, even though I've made mistakes. And, of course, with my addiction, I've made terrible mistakes. But I think I've been a good person through all of it. I really do. I feel good about myself in that way.
For sure.
I can really stand and say that I've never done terrible things to people, in a sense that I've always been good-hearted and wanted what was best for my family especially.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important.
Randy has the most amazing heart. He really does. And obviously in your active addiction, it made you do things that weren't you, like drugs, change a person. And that's not who the person is.
Right. Completely.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I would agree. Who you are at your core is just the most honestly sensitive, gentle, good-hearted, well-intentioned. I could just go on and on and on.
And that's the truth, though. I really am. But addiction brought the worst out of me. It turned me into a totally different person. Even though I wanted to still be that good person, I couldn't fight it. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. On so many levels.
Let's go there. So I think addiction, it's a battle of the enemy. And so it is. It's like this like warfare, this spiritual warfare, and it is. It's darkness. It's demon-like, right?
It's hopelessness.
It is. Yeah. And so it does. It totally pulls us out of our truth and who we really are and who God created us to be. And so give a little bit of background on like you're growing up, and then kind of where did things transition? Like where did you fall into addiction? Like how did that happen? Like give us a little bit of paint the picture.
I wasn't into any type of drug use or anything like that until I was in my mid-30s and my parents died. And that really hit me hard. It really hit me hard. And I started immediately started looking for something to numb my pain. And I was just taking whatever I could get my hands on and as much of it as I could do just to try and numb the pain. And at the same time, my father had died and I was trying to help take care of my mom. So I was trying to I maintained a job. I took care of her. I took her in and I tried to maintain the best I could, but at the same time, I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't let anybody see that I couldn't deal with it, So it was just whatever I needed to do to try and get through it. And then that set me on a path that even once that went away, there was no excuse for it. I still continued down that path off and on.
Yeah.
And it went through different types of addictions and it went through different types of drug use just to try and whatever fit the bill at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what
just to try try to feel normal. That's what I was chasing all the time, was trying to feel normal. That's all I wanted, you know. I mean, I honestly never really felt that I was trying to get high. I was trying to feel normal and trying to not feel depressed. And I just wanted to be okay and be able to maintain and continue working and take care of my kids and take care of my family. But what I didn't understand at the time is I was hurting my kids and my family and doing the exact opposite of what I should be doing.
Of what your intentions were.
Yeah. I had the best of intentions, but I just didn't know how to make it through it without taking something to feel different, you know?
Totally. And I think you bring up an important thing. So at the root of addiction, it is you're trying to escape. I mean, that's at the root of that. That's why we turn to those things. And so it's escapism and it's a way to numb out. And you don't know how to deal. That's, you know, and so, but I will say, you know, I have met people along the way in their addiction who have liked getting high. And that is one thing I learned about you, that's not something that it doesn't seem like that was a thing for you.
It's not what I was chasing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say there was never a time that I got high and felt good, but I just didn't want to feel the way that I did when I wasn't doing some sort of drug, you know?
And
I felt terrible.
Yeah. How did you feel?
I hated myself. I hated myself for it. I mean, I really just wanted to be a family guy and just be good for my kids. And I knew that was the exact opposite of what I was doing, you know?
And so it numbed you out then. You didn't have to face the reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was the hardest thing I've ever been through, because it's like, how do you get away from that one? That's the only thing that makes you feel normal, to where you can function and go to work every day and work hard. But you know that's what's hurting your family. And it was, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. That's why I hurt so much for people that are in active addiction now, because I know they're not trying to do something bad.
Yep. Yeah. It's just the darkness got a hold of them.
Yeah.
You know, that battle.
Yeah.
And
it's easier to go that way than it is to get through the hard part and get clean.
Sure.
It's much easier. It's quicker. It's easier. And I think that's what human nature tells us to do, is take the easy path, you know?
So true. So true. In a world where we're trying to take diet pills and we just want quick fixes for things. And yeah, no, it's so true. I see how we fall into those traps as humans. Yeah, totally. So let's go to the adoption agency for a minute when I met you. So, you know, this is, so back to the context of like, he's a pain in my butt. I say that, I'm jokingly saying that. And
but
out of complete love, true love. I truly, from day one, when I met you, Randy, I saw the good man, the good heart.
I know you did. I could tell.
Yeah. And so I loved you, and
that's why I felt safe with you.
Right. And so, just for you know, laughs, I think about that time you jumped out of my car. Let's tell that story. So when I say you're a pain in my butt, here's why. So Randy, like that was a time when you were in active addiction, and what drugs did to you was made you angry, right? Like you had a lot of anger, or you just, and like that self-hatred piece, like you were talking about, it manifested in, I'm going to lash out.
That was huge. Else. That was huge. My self-hatred. It made me lash out at other people. There's no doubt at all. I was violent. I was rude at times. I mean, I never, especially towards you, because I knew that you were there with the best intentions. You were helping us. I never meant to take any of it out on you, but unfortunately you were there and you did catch the brunt of it sometimes, you know?
Yeah, not directly, but I saw
I
your
always
anger.
I always tried to behave.
You tried real hard, didn't you?
Yeah, but I would get mad at things and at inappropriate times. And there was a time where I was in the backseat of your car and I jumped out in the middle of traffic. And you kept your cool, and you just went through the light and made a U-turn and come back and pick me up and gave me a minute to cool off and have a cigarette. And
that's key.
Yeah. And we just went back to where we were going again. I think.
We did.
And not many people could handle me that way. And that's what I love about you. Yeah, you've been amazing.
We talked about that. We talked about how you didn't rattle me. Like you never rattled me, you never scared me, because there was nothing to be scared of. Like you, again, I saw your heart and who you were.
Yeah. And I'm glad about that.
Yeah. And so, anyway, so I, from there, when I ended up leaving the adoption agency a little while after that. And we ended up staying in touch on Facebook, and through Messenger is how we would stay in touch initially. And then you guys ended up having another daughter, Delilah, together, you and Mandy.
Yeah.
And so we basically, the extent of that is we would come to her birthday parties every year. I remember coming to her birthday parties, and just continue to stay in touch, on Facebook throughout the year. And fast forward to July, all the years run together now, 2023, I believe it was, right? So where did life take you, from the time I meet, me leaving the adoption agency, you guys having Delilah, what was those? It was 4 years, I think, right?
We were very successful for a while, even though I was battling addiction. It was up and down. And we actually had a pretty successful business. And we got into a nice house, and we were doing pretty well.
Talk about what you do. You need to brag on yourself, Renee, because he's so talented.
I do custom upholstery, custom automotive interiors, and I've been doing it 35 years with some little hiccups here and there. But I'd like to think I'm really good at what I do. I'm very proud of what I do. And I kept doing that through everything. I kept pushing on, and I didn't want to lose my trade and my pride in what I did. But then we kind of hit rock bottom. My addiction was getting bad, and we lost our house, not because we weren't paying our bills, but because our landlord wanted to sell our house, gave us a 30-day notice, and that really pulled the rug out from underneath us. And I think that was rock bottom for me the following 6 months after that, because I was trying to deal with that and numbing myself, from what was going on, trying to protect my daughter the best I could, which I didn't do a good job. By any means, I didn't do a good job. But I just absolutely hit rock bottom, I think. That's the only way you can describe it.
Yeah.
I ventured into other kinds of drugs to try and numb myself, and with good intentions the whole way through. But it got to the point where we were homeless, I couldn't get a day job because I had no place for my family to go. So during the day, I was struggling, trying to keep the roof over our head for the next night. And it just got more and more out of control. And that's why we would turn to you, when things got really tough. And thankfully, you were there for us with our daughter. But
yeah, so I think that was actually July of 2022 that you guys lost the house. I think because it was a year prior.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So I think it was that. And I just remember during that time, we took her for some weekends while you guys were in and out of trying to find Airbnbs or extended stays or whatever the situation was. So
the constant battle.
Yeah.
Constant battle of trying to come up with the money to keep a roof over our head and trying to figure out a way where I can have them safe during the day while I get a full-time job. And it was just, it was just too much.
And at the time, I had to paint the picture a little bit because, again, I saw you guys here and there sparingly. And obviously during that time, we were taking Delilah for some weekends here and there, but I wasn't in your day-to-day life. And so I didn't know you were currently on drugs, right? During that time, I didn't know that.
Of course. And it wasn't something I was willingly, letting people know.
Sure.
I was so ashamed of myself because look at what's going on around me.
Right.
And I know the core problem.
Right.
I know the core problem, but I couldn't. My addiction was so bad, and the sickness that I got from the withdrawals and everything was so bad that I couldn't stop because then I would be in the hospital. And here I am every day trying to figure out just how to feed my family. And luckily you were there for us to lean on some, but we couldn't. My pride wouldn't allow me to let people know what was going on. So it was just, there was no hope in sight. Right. Like I said, I've said this to you a lot of times, it's like there was a black curtain in front of me. There's no way I could get through that, to get on the other side, to start being a healthy human being again and taking care of my family the way I should, because that black curtain of the withdrawals and the sickness and everything was right in front of me. And how could I be a normal person again until I got through that? How do I get through that?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to stay well, I called it.
Right.
By doing the drugs. With me, I don't know if you mind me saying, but with me it was fentanyl.
Oh, no, gosh, no, we're going to get there. For sure.
And with me, it was fentanyl. And I couldn't go a day without it because I was so sick that I felt like I was dying. picture the worst flu you've ever had on top of the worst depression you've ever had, and you just fall apart. And I couldn't go through that. You know, I had Delilah and Mandy sitting there waiting for me to provide for them and figure out what was going to happen next.
I was going to say, you had the unique, I feel like men listening can relate to this, like of providing for your family. I mean, that's how it is in your family. Like you're the provider. And so I get what you're saying, and that like in some ways you were lying to yourself, right? Like,
absolutely.
Like thinking, I mean, telling yourself I need to do these things. So I can't, you know, putting getting clean or whatever on the back burner.
Right.
So in hindsight, right, it's like, well, ultimately you just needed to do that to
take
actually
a step.
get things right. But I see your thought process in that, like, I'm the provider for my family. They're relying on me. So I just have to stay, you know, not getting sick. I can't take time off to like go actually to detox and get help. Like I see where your mindset.
And my thought process was, how can I go get a 40-hour-a-week job when they're going to be sleeping in the car while I'm at work? You know, how can I do that to them? I've got to actively be throughout the day trying to find us a place to stay that night.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
That's
real. I feel like this real life struggle, meaning like I think so many people can relate to that, right? Where like maybe you know what you should be doing, like what's right. Like I think you knew in that moment, like you knew what was wrong, what was right, what you should be doing. But the reality is you were just trying to survive every day is actually really what the reality is.
And there was nothing more important to me than, and I mean this, than my family. Mm-hmm. People might say the drugs were more important, but they weren't. I was just trying to stay well. I was trying to stay on my feet. I was always looking at like, maybe I can just figure this out.
Yeah.
Maybe something will click. You know what I mean? We didn't have family that could take us in. We didn't have, people say there are shelters out there. There's not shelters for families.
Yeah.
There's not, you know? And
it's usually like women and children.
Like you say, I was lying to myself thinking I could keep us together and get through this without something major happening.
Right.
You know, something had to break eventually to where I could just give in to what was going on and accept that I needed to get help and just throw my hands up in the air and ask God to help me.
Sure.
You know, and that's what ultimately ended up happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So fast forward. So I lost contact with you guys for a little bit because I do remember there was a time where things were starting to like concern me. And I'm like, I think I need to pull back. I created boundaries. And we talk about this all the time. Like man, it's so hard when you love people who are struggling or in active addiction. And again, I didn't know, you know, of course I worried that was a reality, but I didn't know for sure. And so I didn't want to make any assumptions. And that was my mindset, was like, I'm not going to assume. But I think when we love people who are struggling, love people who are in active addiction, it's easy to fall into enabling. And actually that doesn't help the person. It doesn't do any good.
No, it doesn't, because it finally had to get to the point where something had to change. If people had kept helping us and things like that, I never would have taken the steps one way or the other to get help.
Yeah.
You know,
so, I love that you recognize that, because I think there's also so many people out there that love somebody who's struggling, who is enabling for the best of intentions. We can go back to this intention piece, right? Like our intentions are so good, but then the person doesn't have to change, because ultimately, let's just say you guys were comfortable. Why would you have to make any different?
Right.
You know, why would you have to do any different? And so anyway, I had to put up boundaries, and that's what I did. And I preach that all the time too. Like you know how much I deeply love people struggling, but I also am very big on boundaries. Like if there's something, and so I did that. And so for months, I don't know, 6-9 months, I really lost contact with you guys. I didn't have much contact. And so fast forward to July of 2023, end of July. So like very end of July. I'll never forget. I was sitting I had just started a new job. I was sitting in a training, and you guys had called, and I hadn't heard from you in a long time. So that was obviously odd. And then I didn't answer because I'm in the middle of a training. And then you called twice, right? Like back to back. And I thought, oh, this is something. And I answered the phone, and you guys had just said that DCS had come and they were taking Delilah, and you asked if Matt and I would take her. And instantly my heart was like, absolutely yes. Like that girl,
thank God,
she's always had a piece of my heart. And I told you this even when I set the boundaries. I said, if it has to do with Delilah and helping Delilah, I will be there. So bring me to that day. Bring me to that day and what happened.
Things just kept getting harder and harder. We went from staying in Airbnbs And I was doing odd jobs and things to keep the bills paid somewhat. And we had 2 vehicles. To one of our vehicles, the motor went bad. So we got down to 1 vehicle. And it just kept getting tougher and tougher and tougher. And then it got to where we were staying in overnight motels or weekly motels. And then we couldn't pay that. And basically, enough people had seen us going through this and going downhill. They got concerned with Delilah's safety, rightfully so.
Rightfully so, yeah.
And I don't agree with the way they went about it, but
sure.
They brought, is it DHS?
DCS,
yeah. I'm sorry, into our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they came to us and they needed to take Delilah. And as hard as it was to let her go, there was a certain amount of relief knowing that she was going to be with you guys.
Yeah.
Because I felt so bad leading up to that every moment because I loved her so much. I wanted to give her the absolute best. And I really tried to, for the best that I could at the time under my circumstances. So once you guys stepped in and Delilah was with you, it allowed us to focus on ourselves a little bit, but it still didn't give me what I needed to completely step up and make the changes. You know, I kept making excuses. Mm. Well, I still haven't, even though I don't have Delilah now, I have Mandy that I need to take care of, you know. Mm-hmm. It just kept getting worse. I missed Delilah. So then I was numbing that on top of everything else. Mm. I missed her so much. It just got harder and harder.
Yeah. So I'm going to share this piece because it really matters to me with how this all turns out. But I'll never forget, and I was not here, so this was through Matt, but it stuck with me when Matt told me this. So I'll never forget when the caseworker brought Delilah, or actually, I think, yes. So Matt had to pick her up, and then the caseworker met him here to she had to look at the house, you know. And so again, I was at work, but she had looked at Matt and said, "You and your wife better start having conversations about what you're going to do if you're open to adoption with this one, because this is a bad one." And instantly, and I want to say this, let me preface it with this. I have the utmost grace and respect for that caseworker and all the caseworkers that work in child welfare, because I started out my career in child welfare.
Right.
Again, I've always had a heart for the birth parents and wanting to see them succeed. But the reality is, and you know this, you can give somebody, the support and the resources, and then what they do with it is what they do with it.
Right.
And so unfortunately, what happens is, and it's a broken system, and there is not in many ways enough support. It's just, it is a broken system. But these caseworkers are doing the best that they can, right. 100%. And they are seeing hard things every day. And they are seeing a lot of, unfortunately, I don't want to call it failed situations, but just situations where parents can't or don't have the resources or whatever to end up doing what they need to do.
And they've got a lot on their plate too. They're not dealing with just one family.
No.
Yeah.
And so I have the utmost respect. So I say this from a place of deep, grace and respect too for this caseworker. But she had instantly written you guys off. Right. And I think that's part of the problem with the system. Sure. Did your history didn't look good, right? And I want to touch on that too. But so she had, every, I guess, right to assume that. However, what I've learned is that we should never assume. We should never write people off, because anybody can change at any time. And I have learned that time and time again. And so I want that to be so known to everybody. Like, you're never too far gone.
Yeah.
And so, luckily we didn't write you off, and we had faith, and, we were committed at that point to walking the journey with you guys, not against you guys, not separate from you guys. Right. This was a journey that we were going to ride out with you. And then what you did with the support we gave you was on you.
You made it very clear that it was up to us to do the change, to do the work. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you had to, because we can't do your work,
Right.
But we made it as hopeful, and we tried to make it as easy. Easy is maybe not the right word, because it was a very hard situation, but we tried to make it as doable as possible for you guys. We loved you guys through it. We supported you in whatever way we could. We had Delilah call you every single night because I never wanted you to lose that contact.
Yeah.
I know how much you were struggling not having her,
Yeah.
right? And so, let's talk a little bit about that journey of from the time we got her early, late July to December, where we'll get to that point. But those few months and where things went from there with you.
That was tough being away from her. I mean, it was hard getting myself on track, trying to focus on doing right, but missing her so much that it took the breath out of my lungs, and Mandy too. We just were so lost without her, but we knew what we had to do. And the good thing was knowing that she was safe with you guys, it took all that weight off of us. You know what I mean? But there was a transition. It still took a while for us to start doing the right thing. Sure. It really did,
And why do you think that was? I just think, people who go through, there, maybe people that hear this that have gone through this exact thing,
I don't know. I think almost in the beginning there was a relief. Okay, now we don't have to worry about, I don't know.
You could breathe again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that probably sounds terrible, but.
No, it makes sense.
I mean, we knew she was okay. It didn't mean that we can go run amok.
Sure.
But it just, okay, now we can sit back and take a breath. And we almost had to kind of figure out who we were again.
For sure.
I really believe that. I think we had to kind of figure out us again too, because there's no time for a relationship when you're going through all that, And
you guys were in complete crisis and survival mode.
Yeah. Every day was survival mode.
Yeah.
And again, this whole time, my focus was I wanted to get back to work. I knew once I got back to work, because I can make a good living, I can get us back on our feet. But I have this addiction that's making me to where between that and trying to figure out where we're going to stay every night, that is your focus every day, all day long. And then once you figure that out and you get into a hotel room or whatever it is, you just want to relax. You just want to, you know what I mean? And then you wake up the next day and it's a constant struggle again. It's just Groundhog Day every single day. And I mean, in some ways it was easier not having to worry about Delilah being taken care of, but also in some ways I think it made me not be as driven as I was before there for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
No, I love that.
Honest.
Yeah, no, it's that.
This is
real life.
I never intended to be that way. I never intended to be that way. But when you don't have that extra mouth to feed or that fear of losing her, then you're not quite you don't feel the pressure. Because I was worried from day one that we would lose her. That was the big thing. I mean, I did everything I could to try and keep that from happening. I say everything I could, but at the time I felt that I was
you were doing everything to the best of your ability.
That was my priority in my mind at the time. But being in active addiction, your priorities are not there.
Yeah, you're not thinking truly logically.
No.
Yeah.
It was such a mess. I can't even explain it to myself. There's no way I could explain it to you. It was so confusing and such a hard thing.
That's what that does with
But off and on through all that, I would get a job, but wouldn't keep it for one reason or the other. And I come up with all the excuses in the world. The bottom line is I'm good at what I do. I could have kept the job. Looking back on it, there are things that Mandy could have done. If we were really serious about it, she could have sat in the car for 8 hours a day while I went to work. But my excuse then was I have no place for her to be while I'm at work. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I could come up with all the excuses in the world. But the bottom line is we just weren't doing what we needed to do.
Yeah.
And we had no one to support us other than you guys.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad. I felt so ashamed that I couldn't be honest with you guys either. That was the hardest thing. We love you guys so much. You were doing so much for us. And we just couldn't be honest with you because we were so ashamed.
Yeah.
And we felt like we were betraying you through so much of it. And there was a lot of self-loathing through that whole situation. For
sure. And shame, man, it's such a silent internal killer.
And I'm a very prideful person.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Working on. I've worked on that one, Randy. He's. I mean, we'll get there, but you're so much more humble, I feel like.
I'd like to think I am.
You are. But yes, especially at that time, like, yeah, pride has been a big
my
thing.
pride and my ego was huge.
Yeah.
And my shame is a constant battle between the two.
For sure. That just kept you chained.
Yeah.
Totally bound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And made me angry. I was so angry all the time. You know that. You saw it all the time.
Yeah. It manifested into anger.
Yeah. I did my best not to be, but I was a very angry person.
Yeah. And that's what that stuff will do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anger is really suppressed emotion and all these suppressed things. And that's exactly what you're just suppressing, trying to survive. And then it just would come out.
I would go from crying behind closed doors to fighting people at the gas station 15 minutes later. You know, it got to the point where it felt good to take out my shame and my anger on other people, which I look back on now. And
that was the only way you knew how to release it.
Yeah.
You know, so not doesn't make it right. I mean, you know, but that's the only way you knew how to release it. Like there's this principle in dialectics of therapy that, you know, I use, and it's this idea that we're all doing the best we know how at any given time. And Randy, I saw that with you. And so it doesn't mean that we're always doing it well or we're always doing it right. And it definitely doesn't justify behavior, action, like none of that. But it is truly, that is truth. Like we are all doing the best we know how at any given time with our circumstances and our emotional functioning and reasoning during that, like truly. And so that's what you were doing. You were doing the best you knew how. Yeah. Was it well, right? Okay. We could, you know,
I had good intentions.
Yeah.
But I knew that I wasn't doing what I should be doing. It was obvious.
Sure. Yeah.
It was obvious. When it comes down to it, there's no excuse to not take care of your child.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So fast forward to December of 2023 still, right? I'm like, what year are we in? I got a call from Mandy. It's a little fuzzy. Yeah, I think maybe she had called me. Anyway, basically had said that you had really gone off the deep end. You were running into traffic. You also greatly battled suicidal ideation. And I mean, I think a lot of those go hand in hand, but
that was
talk
going
about
on
your suicidal
years,
ideation
actually.
For a minute, because that you really, for years, even prior to this, talk about that for a minute.
Starting back when my dad died.
Okay. Yeah.
That started kind of coming into mind, but I had to take care of my mom. So that was like, no, that's not an option, you know, and I had good things going on in my life too, but it was always kind of there. It was weird. I just couldn't buck it. Mm-hmm. And as time went on and as my addiction got worse, and it would come and go from different things, you know, different substances and things like that. It would get more severe at times. Even when I was happy, I wouldn't understand why I still felt like I didn't want to be here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or I didn't deserve to be here. And then it got to the point where other things happened. I went through a bad separation and was missing my family and everything. And it got to the point where suicide was my security blanket. If the pain got too bad, I knew I could always check out. And I had to always have access to something that I could kill myself with. I hope it's okay to say it like
that. 100%. Oh, we're talking real here.
I would
real life.
If it wasn't that I had a gun, access to a gun, it even got to the point, or drugs, it got to the point where I would think about chemicals that were under the sink that I could use to kill myself. And I had to have something that I knew if my pain got too bad, and it would get bad, and then it would get better. Just different day by day things would happen. I mean, honestly, at that time I was separated, I would meet a girl and she would distract me for a day or two.
Savior.
Yeah. And she would distract me for a day or two. And then things would get bad again. And I always had to have something that was close at hand that I could use to kill myself with. And it was absolutely like a security blanket. And without that, I panicked. I went into panic mode. If I had that, I was okay. Because I knew that like that, I could end it and be out of the pain. Be out of the pain of missing my kids and missing my family and just missing my old life because things had completely fallen apart. You know, I hated myself.
You had described it one time, Randy, something with like jumping off a building, like, you know, like, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember the analogy you used about like it's almost like a burning building?
Yeah.
Do you know
honestly,
the way you describe that?
I hope this is okay to talk about. I was talking about 9/11. I was talking about 9/11.
Okay, yeah.
Those people that were jumping out of the building on 9/11, they didn't want to commit suicide and leave their families.
Right.
That was the last thing they wanted to do. But it was better than being consumed by that burning jet fuel. You know what I mean? And dying in that way. It was so It was just the two pains. You had to weigh out the two different types of pain.
We were talking in context of like leaving your family.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't
want to hurt my family.
Yep.
I didn't want to hurt my family. I didn't want to leave them behind to fend for themselves. But the pain I was feeling inside made me no good. I was doing nothing but hurting them, you know?
So sometimes your brain went to, this would be better. Jumping off this building.
I justified it that it would be better for my family at times if I was not around. And I really bought into that.
Yeah, these are the lies. Illusion's the enemy.
And this was every single day. I mean, this wasn't just every once in a while. This is every day I lived with this, you know? And I couldn't deal with being sober. I couldn't.
What kept you from ultimately, like, I mean, every day battling that?
From not committing suicide?
From dying.
Every day something happened. Every day something happened to make me go another day.
God.
I'd run into an old friend, or like I said, I'd meet a girl. And I was always a sucker for a smile. Okay. Or something.
Yeah. If you know Randy, he's a bit of a ladies' man.
I guess. Something silly like that would make me. I smoked cigarettes back then. And there was one day where I had it. And I went down to the train tracks and I found a place where the light rail was going the fastest. And I figured, okay, this is where I'll jump in front of the train. And I hadn't had a cigarette in hours. And I needed a cigarette so bad. And I went down there and I remember it was a Friday night and there were people all around and this is the night I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump in front of the train because I had no other way to do it. Okay. And I went to the train tracks at that spot and I swear to God, this is the truth. There was a full pack of cigarettes, not even unwrapped, laying in the middle of the train tracks.
Oh my gosh.
I picked it up, unwrapped it and had a cigarette and that got me through that day.
Wow.
It was always something that got me through.
Looking back, knowing, because back then you didn't know God or have a relationship with God.
Right. Knowing
what you know now, like, do you see God
in
those
absolutely.
pieces? Yeah.
What else could it have been?
Right.
What else could it have been?
Right.
And that's when everything started changing because she loved me unconditionally. And it didn't happen overnight that I was like, okay, I want to be here now. But what happened quickly was that I can't leave her. She loves me. You know what I mean? And I love her. I was actually kind of angry at her for a while about that. Because I'm like, damn it, now I got to stay here for you. You know what I mean? Now I got to stick through all this crap for you, you know? But that was the best thing that ever happened to me. That's what saved me.
For sure. You guys are an amazing couple. Okay. So fast forwarding to December. So she calls and says that you're running in traffic. Basically, I mean, you were just at your rock bottom, essentially. Yeah. And so describe that night to me. What happened?
Well, what it was she actually went, I was having a bad night and she went to go shopping. She walked to a store not far away from where we were staying at a hotel. And she called me up and said, hey, I found some shirts for you that you're going to really like. And I think I was like, where the hell are you? I'm coming to meet you. And I met her in a McDonald's parking lot and something set me off. I don't remember what it was. Something set me off. And I ran across traffic to go back to our hotel room. I honestly don't remember. I wasn't there. But I can remember hoping I was going to get hit by a car. And then it wasn't 5 minutes later. I got jumped by 3 people and they beat me like I've never been beaten. I've always been able to hold my own, but I was in bad shape. You remember that. You guys have seen pictures of it, you know? And that's when I just lost it. I went off the deep end. I took it out on you guys. I took it out on everybody.
Yeah, we're sharing all the raw and real. Yeah. You threatened to come pick Delilah up. And I was like, oh no, not today. We're not going to do this.
Yeah, I said, that's my daughter. I'm going to come get her. I did everything wrong. I mean, I feel so ashamed of all that. But at the time,
No, but it's the reality.
That's when I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
I hit rock bottom. My eye was swollen shut. My mouth was swollen, bleeding. You know, I just had my ass kicked.
Yeah. That was rock bottom for sure.
Mandy was gone. She had you guys come get her. You know what I mean? Delilah wasn't there, of course. And I remember there was a blood trail going back to the hotel room where I was at. And I'm going, look at me, you know? And at the time I was holding a job.
Yeah.
I was holding a job, but they didn't have a lot of work for me. And that next morning, I do remember this. I thought, I got to get my shit together. I'm going to go to work. You know, I'm going to go to work and straighten myself out. And I went to work and my boss, I was so bad. He said, you got to get out of here. You're scaring the other employees.
because I saw you in the like you did. You
Yeah.
were really, really, I mean,
I was beat
wrecked.
up bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was having withdrawals and I mean I've never in my life been to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But what's weird is that night, suicide never entered my mind.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
What I was all about was getting my family back.
Okay.
And that's a weird thing. I shouldn't say it never entered my mind because I remember thinking, if the cops come, I'm going to have the cops kill me. I'm going to let them kill me. But
that wasn't your intent yeah.
Yeah, I didn't sit there that night and think about how can I kill myself. I actually took and cuddled up with the dog and went to sleep. You know what I mean? And got up the next morning, like I say, I went to work, but I was just, I don't even know how much of what I'm telling you right now is accurate. You know, I mean, this is what my recollection is of it, because I was in bad shape on every level.
Right.
I was missing my family. I hated myself. I thought the only thing that I have left to hang on to is my job. So I tried to go to work. And then when my boss turned me away and told me, no, you're in too bad a shape to be here. I remember that's when I called Matt. I think I called him, didn't I?
Yeah. So what had happened is, we had come and picked up Mandy, and she had went to stay with my parents.
Yeah.
Because that was her moment of I'm done.
Right.
Like she was,
rightfully
she
so.
was doing what she was supposed to be doing at that point.
Rightfully so.
And she's like, I'm not going to lose Delilah over this.
Right.
And so, so like she was finally putting in boundaries because she had been enabling for a long time.
Absolutely.
Right. And so anyway, that was what was happening. And so then, I think you were threatening to come get Delilah. Matt was actually, I don't know if you remember this. Matt was leaving town that next morning for Colorado,
that's right.
and he was at the airport and ended up turning around and coming back because he didn't want. So he came back, but it's all a God thing because he needed to be here because because that was a moment that was huge for you. So I think that day you called Matt.
So I went to work and my boss wouldn't let me be there because how beat up I was and how scary I was. And I remember going to the bus stop. I didn't even know where I was going. I had no clue where I was going. And I don't remember who started the conversation, Matt or myself. I really don't. Sure. But we started talking and I was ready to just give up. And I had nothing left to lose. My excuses were gone. I couldn't say that I can't go get help because of Mandy and Delilah, because they were taken care of now at that moment. They were safe. Okay, so my excuses are gone. It's not that I'm going to lose my job because I pretty much have already lost my job. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Matt and I talked and he said, look, if you're ready to go, basically no bullshit. If you're ready to really do this, I'll come get you and we'll go do this. And Matt came to where I was at the bus stop and bought me a pack of cigarettes and some chicken. I was hungry.
He knew how to take care of you.
Yep. And we sat and talked for a while. And he laid it down to me that said, look, if you're really ready to do this and cut all the BS, you know what I mean? Then let's go do it. And he walked in there with me, man. And that was a turning point in my life. It was absolutely a turning point in my life because I was ready to just surrender and do whatever needed to be done. I didn't know. I was scared. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what I was going to go through. I knew it was going to be tough. I really did. But thanks to Matt, man, I always say it. I called him a week ago to tell him.
I know.
I was thinking about it again, you know. And it chokes me up to think about it now because I went from feeling alone to absolutely feeling like I had somebody backing me that was going to be there for me. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. That was a really special moment.
Yeah. Between
you and Matt. And Randy, that was the turning point. Mm-hmm. Like you finally decided to surrender.
That's when that curtain lifted that I always talk about. That black curtain lifted. I always think about that. I always saw it. I really did. I saw it like a black curtain. Me and then a regular life. And then that's that day that curtain was gone because I knew I could just give up and go into treatment and go through whatever I had to go through. You know what I mean? No matter how hard it was, I knew that my family was going to be safe and I could be in there as long as I needed to. You know, it got pretty tough. I ended up getting sick. Remember?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you got the flu. Sick. You got the actual flu. I think not just withdrawals.
Right.
You got the actual flu. Yeah. So
they sent me to the hospital. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how long I was in there, a week and a half or something.
Yeah, at least.
I got out the day after Christmas. Yeah. I went into the treatment center December 14th, I think it was. Yeah. And December 26th, I got out of the hospital. So
yeah, because I brought Delilah on Christmas to see you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And that was hard. That was really hard that whole time because I was angry because my family wasn't there. But they shouldn't have been. They shouldn't have been there to see me through all that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't even remember half the time they had me sedated.
Yeah.
But I can't remember that I was angry. But then when you guys came on Christmas, that was amazing.
It was. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Randy, when you made that decision that day, it's the most brave and courageous decision you can make.
It was the hardest thing I've ever been through.
Yeah. Most people, never make it to that point, you know? And so from there, you're released day after Christmas from the hospital. And then that's where does life, because that's really where probably life rebirth begins.
Life could have gone one way or the other that day.
Right.
Okay. Because I came out and I'm still having withdrawals
Yeah.
and things like that. We still didn't have a place.
Yep.
Okay. Mandy came to support me and we got into a hotel room and I'm surrounded by people offering me fentanyl.
Yeah. So you did mention this back at the beginning. Yeah, it was fentanyl, and fentanyl. We all know how incredibly hard that is to get off of. Yeah.
So here I am trying to do the right thing, feeling good. I was almost 2 weeks clean, but having withdrawals because I was off the meds that they had me in the hospital for all that time. And I had people all around me saying they'll give me fentanyl to get me well. You know what I mean? So it was a scramble at that point. It was a scramble at that point to get into outpatient treatment so that I knew that there were things out there like Suboxone and things like that will help you get through it.
Sure.
And honestly, about 3 days later, I still wasn't able to get into treatment. I think it was a weekend or something like that. And if I'm totally honest, a friend of ours had Suboxone. And she said, don't go back to using, because I was sick. She said, don't go back to using. I'm going to bring you some Suboxone. Wow. And she brought me some Suboxone. And within an hour, I felt like a new person.
Wow.
The withdrawals were gone. Everything was gone.
So that really helped.
That really helped. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you got in. You ended up getting into
into treatment.
Yeah, treatment. Yep. And so then you did some counseling. You ended up getting on Suboxone, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And then even I think for you too, the biggest thing was getting on psych meds. Like for the first time in your life, you had never had like a psychological evaluation, and you were diagnosed with bipolar, right?
Bipolar, PTSD. Oh gosh, what was the other one?
Depression.
Those are and depression. Yeah. But the bipolar and the PTSD were the big ones, and it took a little while. It took a couple months for them to figure out my meds.
Yep.
But I feel like a different person. I mean, I can't say enough that. That's as important as the Suboxone or anything else.
For sure.
You know, just feeling like a normal person again and when I wake up, I feel driven to go do things and just.
Well, going back to what you originally said back in the beginning on why you started using in the first place, obviously was the loss and dealing with all that and wanting to escape and numb out, like those things, but you said to feel normal.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we all know this, that mental health, like struggles with mental health and addiction go hand in hand. And so I think you probably that loss and that trauma you went through, that was the PTSD. And then that might've sparked the bipolar.
Yeah.
And so you were really self-medicating. That's what people end up doing.
Yeah.
You know,
I tried everything. I really did. I tried so many different things to try and feel normal. I mean, I've gone through addictions in the past with tramadol right after my dad died. The doctor was prescribing me tramadol and I was taking more than I should have of that, but it would numb me. I mean, I can literally remember my eyes kind of rolling back in my head at times, but I was dealing with so much. I was the executor of my dad's will. And I took my mom in because they'd been together for 48 years and she couldn't take care of herself. She had breast cancer, you know, and so I was a man of the house. I had to, at that time I was keeping a stable job and keeping steady income, you know, but there was always an excuse. Okay. There really was. And looking back on it, it was just an excuse.
Sure.
I thought I was a really strong man. I think I was a lot stronger back then than I was 2 years ago because I really was. I mean, I just bulldogged through things, but I still wasn't strong enough to do it without some sort of help. And I'm so ashamed of the fact that I had to find substances to get me through these situations, but I'm equally as proud now that I don't have to.
I know.
You know, I really do feel good about it.
And Randy, I always say, recovering addicts are my heroes because I think it is the hardest, darkest, deepest demon you can face and battle, and you did it. And so that is strength. Overcoming that battle, it takes an insurmountable amount of strength. And so I have so much respect. You know how much I
always say, like, I don't expect anybody to believe me, but I know in my heart that I will never go back to using. on any level
Yeah.
of any substance. I won't.
Yep.
I feel too good about myself. And we have things dialed in now. With
I was going to say, you know what life feels like sober. And and
My
you're
mental
doing it
health.
the right way. Yes.
And things are getting better every day with my family and everything. So I know I can't expect, I have to prove myself to you guys.
Well, I
owe that to you.
I believe you.
No, but I owe that
know.
to you guys with everything that you've gone through. But I don't have a problem with that the rest of my life. I'll prove myself to you because I know that I'm never going to be a problem again.
Yeah.
You know?
And you don't have to prove yourself to us.
No,
but
I know, but it's important to me too.
Right.
It's important to
sure.
me too.
Yeah, that you keep your
to
word.
To my family, to my daughter, to everybody.
Sure. Yeah, the character and the integrity that you're building for sure. Yeah.
I feel that. Even when I go to work now, I'm a lot more humble at work. I used to be very egotistical and I was kind of an asshole. But I'm really easygoing now at work. You know what I mean? I catch myself sometimes thinking, you guys probably think I'm a sucker, you know? But I'm okay with that. I'm laid back. Nothing gets me angry. You know,
because that's who you really are, Randy. That's who
you
really are.
I was a really big-hearted person when I was younger. You know what I mean?
You are.
And that's why I can't believe I got so angry and so ugly like I did. But
so
now I'm going back to being a pussycat.
Pussycat. I love that. Oh, you're just the best. Look at this, hug you like a teddy bear. No, so yeah, getting your mental health straight. I mean, that, like, I think to the person listening too, like, it is possible to feel normal again, to feel better,
Absolutely.
right? Through doing it through the right methods, right? Like, not through
correct.
But I think, like you said, there's just all these things lies that we tell ourselves and things that build upon each other that you don't see. You could never imagine this life when you were in it, right?
No, like I say, it was that curtain.
Yeah, that curtain. You can't see clearly.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could get through it because it was that sickness. I knew it was going to take X amount of time. Who knows what it would be to get clean and get through the withdrawals and everything of being sick. And again, like I said, I'm trying to keep a roof over my family's head night by night. You know, it just felt hopeless. And that's why when you guys came in and did what you did, I firmly believe that I don't know how I could have done it without you guys. I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. But I feel good about the fact that I didn't waste your efforts.
No, you didn't. You did your part.
I did my part. And I told Matt I was going to do that. That day I promised him I won't let you down, man.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I have. I think I'm doing my part.
You've done amazing. So I ended up introducing you guys to Sun Valley Community Church. Shout out. It's such an amazing place.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Feels
so
like
what
home.
did that do? So let's talk about that for a minute. What did church and finding God, and what did that do for your life?
That came unexpectedly. I did not.
Yeah.
I'd never been to church. Never been to church. I mean, you know, so I didn't, of course, I thought the worst of it. I thought it was fire and brimstone. You know? I didn't know it could be rock and roll and fun, you know.
Yes.
And Sun Valley's rock and roll and fun, you know.
It is.
But, yeah, I don't know. I just had to open myself up to it, I guess, you know. And it hit me quick. I mean, I really feel like I felt the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Moving
in you.
Yeah. It just all came together at the same time. It was just a great experience.
Yeah. So what is God like? What has that done for your life and your recovery? And
it's made me feel like somebody's there for me at all times. And I really do feel like things are going to be okay. When I get to feeling down, I do pray. I'll pray while I'm driving sometimes, you know, or while I'm at work or things when I'm feeling stressed out. I'm still new to it all, so I'm learning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm learning the Bible. I don't know exactly what verse to go to in the Bible when I'm feeling something, but you gave me a cheater Bible, I think it was, where and that jar.
New believers.
You gave me a jar of, if you're feeling happy, read this color. Yeah. There's all different colors of paper. If you're feeling happy, read the red ones. If you're feeling sad and I do that.
I love that. Love that.
So
yeah,
I'm new to all that, but I really do. It just makes me feel calm and feel okay. I love going to church. In fact, there have been times where we went there and we got out of church and I want to go right back in and see the same one again.
Yeah. You know? And you served this last year for Christmas.
Served
you actually
Christmas,
served.
And at Easter, I think we served.
Yeah, amazing.
We were baptized.
Yes, you were baptized.
It was amazing.
Whole family. So
yeah,
this, Randy, you know, your life was changed, obviously. And then the ripple, you know, Delilah and your sons, and just that ripple effect that's ultimately going to ripple hopefully into generations. Like you're starting to break generational stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so let's let's fast forward to, gosh, I guess, I mean, we ended up having Delilah for another while. I mean, 6 months. There was a little, there was a little hiccup too. And so anyway, she ended up going back at the end of September of, what was it, last year? Yeah, last year. So what year are we in? 2024. So you continue to do what you're supposed to. I mean, I watched you just change every day, every month. I mean, and still, like, to this day, I continue every time I see you, like, you look so healthy. You're more mellow. You're just there. I just continue to see you changing and blossoming and growing. And it's been amazing. I truly can't even, words fall short.
I've worked hard at it.
For how proud I am of you and how, I've always seen the amazing human you are, but now you're actually living who you really are. And I feel like you're finally living more in alignment with God and your purpose. And it's incredible to see. When you live more in alignment with that, what comes, and the good is coming to your life because you're doing what you're supposed to. And just watching the fruits of your labor and your hard work come to fruition is amazing.
Yeah, we're still working hard to get completely on top.
No, for sure.
But we're living, we're taking care of ourselves, we're paying our bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're happy. We're really happy.
For sure. So end of September, that was the day that we put Delilah, we back in your guys' arms, the day you got her back. Man, I'll never forget that day.
I won't either.
And like I said, what that caseworker said came flooding back in, and I'm like, you did it. And that is no easy feat. And here's the deal. Not many people do get their kids back from DCS for various reasons, but it's a tough thing to do. That is no easy feat.
You have to put the work in.
Yep.
It's not going to just fall into your lap.
No.
You have to earn. And that's one thing that I feel good about. I've earned my daughter.
You earned it.
You know, I mean, a lot of people can go out there and have kids, but we earned her. We had to prove ourselves.
For sure.
And that's very rewarding.
Yes. Yes. And I think, the other thing that was big with that is you did lose both your other boys to DCS. So you actually got your rights terminated.
Yeah.
Right. And so, this was Delilah was the first child that you actually got back.
Yeah.
And so you were also one of those, high statistics, if you will, of like people that lose their kids.
Right.
And here you are. So that's when there was so much that day. I mean, just so proud of you and the person you are. And then seeing you get to that point where you earned her, you worked so hard to get her back. And that was the first time that you were doing that, after going through what you had been through.
And a huge part of it was having the support of you and Matt. I mean, that was so huge. And also Mandy, of course, because she, from the beginning, through everything that I put her through, she's been there for me and she's held me up.
Yeah.
Even when I didn't deserve it, she's been there for me.
Yeah.
And so I really believe that she's a huge reason as to why I was able to turn myself around.
For sure.
And start doing good. She's absolutely the apple of my eye.
She is. You guys are so amazing. It takes a village.
Yeah.
Really, I think it takes a village to raise kids. I don't care.
Right.
I mean, what we need our, support. You guys are going to watch the kids when we take Austin to a senior trip. So, I mean, it truly does take a village. And so, yes, it took all of us to come together. And DCS had even said, they had never seen a case like this. They had mentioned that.
Yeah, they said that it was very rare that things turn around like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And just having like the support on all sides. Again, I think we really ended up co-parenting.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like, very well.
Yeah.
And, you guys ended up coming over every Sunday for family dinner. And so today's Sunday. And so here we sit and we can smell the food cooking right now and we're having family dinner. And so you guys really have become a part of the family, a real part of the family. And that's why I just love you even on that level, of just that family bond. And I just couldn't be more proud of you guys. Truly, truly, truly. Yeah. So, gosh, what other parts? I'm just trying to think, like, what feels important? Are we missing anything in your story that feels like important for people to hear?
We could probably talk all day long about different things.
I know we could. I don't want to miss, you got so through this whole process, you've, re-engaged with your boys again, obviously. I mean, Larry's now older, he's an adult, but he's, living with you guys and you're seeing David. And so that's been amazing. You've rekindled those relationships. Right. Yeah.
And actually our relationship with my ex has gotten better with my sobriety and everything, which has opened up the door for my boys to come back into my life more, you know what I mean? And even my daughter and my grandkids and things are a bigger part of my life now because of my sobriety.
For sure.
And they see that I'm doing things good. And again, I can't stress enough how important it is the way that you and Matt were there for us and still continue to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's you did set boundaries, and you didn't, believe me, you didn't give us the feeling that we could walk on you or come and, do things that were outside of what was, how do I say it?
In the best interest.
Yeah, in the best interest of Delilah. You followed the guidelines, you know what I mean? And we respected that, you know what I mean? And I just think that we worked together and come out with the best possible outcome.
We did.
I think it was, and I understand completely why they felt the way they did about us, why they thought that we were a hopeless case when they first picked up Delilah. I really do. I didn't then, but looking back on now, it's like, wow, I probably would have felt the same thing.
Sure.
But we just poured it on and did what we could, and here we are.
So how does life feel now in
Good.
sobriety? And
it feels really good. I feel like, I'm proud of myself again.
Yeah.
I really am. I don't feel ashamed of myself anymore.
What would you say to somebody in the middle of their battle right now? Like that curtain is there. What would you say to them?
It can change, and it can change fast. It really can. It feels like it could just never change, but it can change, and it can change fast. You have to really be willing to give in and take whatever steps are necessary.
I love that.
And it can change really fast, and you'll feel better than you ever did. I feel better. I never got a high that feels like this.
Oh, I love that. And did you believe that before the curtain was lifted?
No way.
Right?
I was just trying to feel okay. I was trying to feel normal. But now I feel like I'm getting a high out of life. You know what I mean? I feel good. I leave work every day. I know I did good. I feel good about myself. I go home. I see Delilah. She's happy. Pinky and I, we never even argue anymore. You know what I mean? It's just, we're on a high.
Yeah, like literally. Pinky said that you've been so Mandy, Pinky.
Yeah,
her name's Mandy. We call her Mandy, right? I call her Mandy because that's just how I've always heard. But Pinky is how she also goes by. So yeah, just for the people that are like, wait, who's Pinky? She said that it's so amazing. Like you are so mellow, and I see that too. Like when you come over, you're just a completely, truly, Randy, like a total, what do they call that? 360 change. You're totally different. And what I mean by that, when I say different, you are who you always were. It's just that was stuffed and clouded by all this crap. Right. Yeah. And so we get to finally see you. We get to finally see the Randy.
The good part. I like being a good guy.
Yeah. We finally get to see that because that's who you've always been. That's what I'm saying. That's what I always saw. You have no idea. I can't even put it into words. I think I've told you before that, like, because you always were like, you wrestled with like, how can I repay you for like what you did for Delilah?
Course,
like there was like, you would say stuff like that. And I was like, the best repayment I could ever get is to see you succeed and to do well and be happy. And I feel like that, that's it. Like, that's what you've done. Like
and that's what's important to me.
Yeah.
The rest of my life, I'm going to show you guys that.
And I just
ever go back to that.
That's all I care about is like your happiness and freedom from these things, know that. And so anyway, it's just incredible to see, how mellow you are and how chill. And like, you're just living life now and doing your thing. And it's so awesome. Truly.
I just work and then come over here on Sundays.
You do. Yeah. And I want to go back to your point really quick because it's kind of talking about the Sundays in the family. I do think like for people to get out of those cycles of it, because think about it, like some people, they go back to living in the same areas, not having family support. Like that is huge. Like having solid, sober friends and family and, just being in the right environments. Like, I think that's why some people get stuck too. And so I do think that was a helpful thing. God connecting our paths. I'm so grateful he did. Because here's the thing, just as much as like we've helped you, Randy, like I have learned and grown so much as a person myself because of you. Like I would not be who I am today had I not walked this journey with you and Mandy and Delilah. Like I would not know the true depths of God's grace and love and those things without having walked this journey. And so you've taught me so much and you've done so much for me.
It's definitely created a bond between all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to explain.
It is. It really is. Okay. Show us your shirt that's underneath your nice shirt right there. I want to see it because I have a question for you in regard to this. He's got they made something when I had my book launch. And they surprised me and it was amazing. And I have a shirt too. I should have wore it. Oh my gosh, I forgot about it. He has a shirt. I hope you guys can see that.
My Soul Soldier shirt.
Yes, it says Soul Soldier. He's in the book. He's actually in chapter 8. I obviously share, what we talked about here is way more in depth, but I share a brief part of his story, and it's essentially a summary of what we just talked about. But you're in that book. And so what does it mean to you to be a soul soldier?
It just to feel like I actually conquered the demons that I was fighting and did the right thing and stood up for my family and took advantage of the opportunities that I had with what you guys, the opportunities you gave us, make the most out of them.
Sure.
And not fail you.
I love that.
We took on the demons that we were battling and come out on top for our kids.
I love that. And it's God. It's God at the center.
Yeah.
God's the one that, orchestrated, honestly, all of this, Yeah. He's the one that saves and restores and redeems. And I've seen that in your life.
I firmly believe that. I really do.
Yeah. I love that. All right. So that's a wrap. And I wanted to bring the whole fam in for this because look at this. Look at what God has done.
Yeah.
I know some people might just be listening to this, but if you're watching this, I just wanted everybody to see how amazing and good God is. We come together every Sunday, right? Yeah.
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 And Delilah, do you have anything to say? Do you want to say anything to anybody? I know she said when we were getting everybody gathered that she wants to do a podcast one of these days, but do you have anything to say to anybody? No.
I love you all.
Just that you're the cutest ever. We all love you so much. Yes. Anybody else? Anybody else have anything they want to say? No? I put everybody on the spot.
We love the fam.
Yeah. So that's a wrap. Randy, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Truthfully, just getting in the depths with me. I have so much love and respect for every single one of you.
Thank
love
you
you
for
guys
having
so
us.
much.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Love
you. Seriously.
Yeah,
all right, this was my fave episode because it's with the fam. So thank you guys for listening. And until next time, take care.